Today I'm going to show you guys how you can use makeup to look 10 years younger. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad to have you here today. I am really excited to do this video for you today where I give you some tips and tricks on how you can use makeup to look 10 years younger than you actually are. And it's actually pretty simple. So before I get into that, I just want to say to anybody that is new to this channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you find this video useful today, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It is on the screen the whole way through this video. There's like a little red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, or hit the subscribe button down below and the little notification bell so that you can be notified each time I post a new video. So let's get started. I'm gonna go through your entire makeup routine and I'm gonna show you the things that you can do in order to make yourself look more youthful and younger. Let's start with foundation. The first thing to think about when we talk about foundation is that as we age, we get more lines and more wrinkles. So when we use foundation, we want to make sure that we use a foundation that is light to medium coverage. We really want to avoid foundations that have a really full coverage, because that can settle into lines and it can settle around our mouth, it can settle around our nose, and that is just less likely to happen if you use a light to medium coverage foundation versus something like a full coverage foundation. Obviously, everybody has different skin types, so you need to find a foundation that's gonna suit your skin type, either matte if you have a very oily skin type, or more radiant if you have a drier skin type. But whatever you do, make sure that you shear it out. And the best way to do that is also to use a beauty blender. I find that when I use a beauty blender instead of a brush, it is much easier, a damp beauty blender by the way, it is much easier to shear out that foundation and really get it nice and kind of thin on your face. And again, in that way, it does not settle into your big lines on your face or your fine lines around your eyes and other places on your face. Next, let's talk about powder. So the thing that we want to avoid when we are using powder on our face when we are like 40 and above is basically what all the YouTubers do, and that is use a thick setting powder. The example that comes to my mind right away is the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I find that to be kind of a thick setting powder. It is not thin. It really does add coverage to your makeup, and that is not what we're going for when we are slightly older. What we are going for is something that is going to set our skin, set our makeup so that it doesn't move around all day. And certainly if we have oily skin, we are looking for something that's going to mattify a little bit of the oil, but we do want to have some radiance. And so we want to choose a powder that is going to be light and that's going to add a tiny bit of radiance. The two powders that immediately come to my mind that really serve that purpose well are the Hourglass powders. The one that I have is Diffuse Light, and it's just a translucent, very light powder that is super duper thin, and it is going to do a great job of setting your makeup and giving you a tiny bit of a radiant look on your skin. You can barely see it there. It's giving you a teeny radiant look, but it will set your skin. If you don't want to dish out the money for the Hourglass powder, a powder that I have been loving from the drugstore that will do the same thing is this CoverGirl Advanced Radiance powder. It just comes in a compact like this. This is actually what I'm wearing on my skin today. This is what I use to set my foundation, and I love it. It doesn't add a lot of coverage, but it does set your face, and it does add a tiny bit of radiance so that you look healthy. As we get older, our skin becomes more dry, it becomes less plump, and the last thing that we want to do is have a flat, matte face. We really want to bring out some radiance in our skin, and so using a powder that's going to be a tiny bit radiant is going to make you look alive and healthy in your older age. And by the way, I do classify myself in that older age group. Okay, so moving on to our under eyes. We definitely, as we get older, want to use concealer. As we get older, we lose some of the fat that is underneath our eyes, and our eyes become less plump, more sunken in, and they start to look a little bit bluer. And so what we want to do is we want to conceal that so that nobody can see that we've lost all that delicious fat that we used to have when we were young under our eyes that made us look so healthy. And the way to do that is to use a concealer, something that's kind of thin, but that does a good job of hiding those circles, like Maybelline Age Rewind. I love this concealer. It does a fantastic job at concealing the dark circles, at brightening your under eyes, giving the illusion that they're plumper than they actually are. And it doesn't crease. It doesn't settle into the creases. The last thing that you want to do when you are putting on your concealer is do what the YouTubers do. Buy something that's full coverage like Tarte Shape Tape and start like wiping it on your eyes all the way down your face. It is so heavy and it is so thick that in people that are a little bit older, like in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, it's going to settle into fine lines. It's going to look cakey. It is not going to help you look youthful. Let's talk about how we want to set our under eyes so that we can look more youthful. And we really want to bring light to the area under our eyes. A powder that I love for that purpose is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. It is a very, very thin white powder. I can hardly even hold it up because I don't want it to spill. But it is very, very thin. It's white, and you just dust a little bit under your eyes to set your eyes. That is what I have on my eyes today. And that will bring out the light underneath your eye. Let's move on to blush. As I mentioned before, when we get older, our skin gets much more dry, much less radiant. So we want to bring back radiance to our faces. And there are two really good ways of doing this. You can either use cream products, and there are several cream products that I absolutely love for the cheeks. One of them is the Daniel Sandler watercolors. I have talked about these a number of times on my channel. These are water-based blushes. There's no oil. You put the tiniest amount on your finger and you just dab it on your cheeks, but it gives you a little bit of a radiant look, and they are so easy to use. You can use them on your eyes. You can use them on your lips. They're super versatile, and you have to use so little that these will literally last for the entire rest of your life. They are wonderful, wonderful liquid blushes. If you don't want to dish out the money for a high-end liquid blush like this, I recommend the blush bombs from Flower Beauty, which you can get at Ulta. It's a drugstore product, and they are also a beautiful, beautiful liquid blush. You just dab a tiny bit on your finger, you dab it around your cheek, and they have a little bit of a radiant finish. It's not a highlighty finish, it's just a radiant finish, and it just brings a youthful, glowy look to your skin. Now, let's say you are a person that just does not do cream product, which I totally get, because for a long time I was a person that was very afraid of using cream products. If you really want to find a powder blush to wear, just look for something that's got a satin finish. Try not to get something that's super matte, because that's not going to bring a lot of radiance to your face, and try not to find something that's shimmery, because something that's shimmery is going to accentuate fine lines and pores that we get on our skin as we age. Instead, look for something with a satin finish. One blush that I really like with a satin finish are these Clinique Flower blushes. They have a beautiful satiny radiance finish without being flat and without being shimmery. So if you're looking for a great powder blush for that purpose, check those out. They're great. Next, do bring out the bone structure in your face. But how do we do that? We do want to use bronzer and highlighters, but we want to make sure that we do it in the right way. When we choose a bronzer color, we want to choose something that's got a little bit more of a gray undertone and less of an orange undertone. The last thing we want as we age is to look like an Oompa Loompa with orange on our face. I like this Too Faced matte bronzer in light. It is definitely a bronzer, but it's definitely got a cooler undertone versus a warmer undertone. So find a bronzer that stays away from orange, and when you use it sparingly, but use it around the perimeters of your face and to carve out your cheekbones a little bit, but use a light hand. And then don't be afraid of highlighters. Highlighters are beautiful. They bring the high points of our face forward. They make us look glowy. They make us look healthy. And two highlighters that I love, 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 especially for people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, people that have mature skin, are, for a drugstore option, is this Essence Pure Nude highlighter. This is a beautiful, like $3 or $4 highlighter that is so natural. It is not at all going to cause your cheekbones to look shimmery or glittery, but it is going to just accentuate the high points of your face. Another option that's a little bit more high-end, but one that I love and I've been using for so many years, is the Laura Geller Baked Vanilla Highlighter. I'm not even going to open it because it's all cracked, because I have used it so much over the last several years, but it gives the most natural radiance without making you look shimmery or glowing from outer space. The thing we want to avoid, what we do not want to do in terms of highlighter, is buy a metallic highlighter and start putting metallic highlighters on our cheeks and our faces. The only person that can pull that off is Jaclyn Hill, you guys. We do not need to be doing that when we are looking for something that's gonna make us look youthful and radiant. That is gonna look unnatural, and we do not wanna go for unnatural looks. It's also, if you use very metallic highlighters, gonna really accentuate pores and fine lines. So do use highlighter, but don't use metallic highlighters. Okay, next, let's move on to our eyebrows. Definitely do use something to enhance your eyebrows. As we age, we lose hair all over our body. We lose hair in our heads, our eyebrows become less thick, our eyelashes become less thick. So one thing that's gonna make us look more youthful is to really accentuate our eyebrows, but there is a natural way to do it, and that's what we're going for here. We wanna use something like Benefit Gimme Brow, which just has a tiny, tiny little mascara wand. And that is what I'm wearing on my eyebrows today. And what it does is it takes the eyebrow hair that you do have and it really accentuates it, but in a very, very natural way. Another really good way to just accentuate your eyebrows is to take a skinny pencil like this Anastasia Brow Wiz and just fill in your brows very, very naturally using hair-like strokes. What we do not want to do is do Insta brows. You guys, pomades are very, very hard to make look natural. We do not want to take, some people are really, really good at using pomades and they can use them naturally. But if you are somebody who has not done your brows, regularly through your life, maybe start with one of these two items and avoid pomades and avoid the Insta brow look. We don't want our brows to look like they're drawn in. We don't want to put concealer on every side and really make them look perfected. We really want them to look natural. We want them to look like hair. We don't want them to look like we have inked them onto our faces. Okay, let's move on to eyes. When we are doing our eye makeup when we are older, less during the day for everyday makeup wear is definitely more. Obviously, if you have a big gala to go to or you really want to play up your eyes because you're going out on a Saturday night for dinner with some friends, that's one thing. But on an everyday basis, we just want to put a little bit of eyeshadow on our eyes. We just want to define our eyes so that we look more awake and so that we look like we have, as I said before, a little bit of definition in our eyes. So what that means is taking a neutral color, one even like your bronzer, your Too Faced bronzer, and just defining the crease in your eyes. That immediately, by just defining the crease in your eyes, is gonna make you look a little bit younger simply because you've got some definition in your eyes. Next, you want to use a little bit of shimmer. I know that in the past, people have said when you were older, like 40s, 50s, 60s, have mature skin, you really want to avoid shimmer, but I don't agree with that. I think that as we get older, adding a little bit of shimmer to our eyes really wakes up our eyes and it makes us look more youthful. Do you want to take like something like foiled? Not necessarily. I think you can pull it off, but definitely a nice shimmer on the lid opens your eyes up, it makes you look awake, and don't forget to put a little bit of shimmer on the inner corners of your eyes. When we wake up in the morning, as I mentioned before, our eyes get really, really blue, but that blueness extends all the way into the corners of our eyes. So by adding an inner corner highlight, we really bring some light to the eyes. It makes us look awake and it makes us look super duper youthful. If you want to go one step further in making your eyes look youthful, you can take a light eye pencil and you can line your inner rim with a light cream eye pencil. I would avoid white. I would use something that's more cream or skin colored just to go to line the inner rim of your eyes, because that also makes you look much more awake. It blurs out any of the red that we have in our eyes when we wake up. I know a lot of people are not comfortable putting pencils in their lower rim, so only do that step if you feel comfortable with that. But if you want to just eliminate that step, make sure you just go ahead and highlight the inner corners of your eyes. Okay, so next we want to talk about eyeliner. The older we get, the more we need to line our eyes, but the more we want that line to be more blurred out and less stark. So two pencils that I can recommend to you that are amazing for lining your eyes when you have more mature skin and more mature eyes are these Smashbox Always Sharp pencils. If you've been on my channel for a long time, you know that I love them because they automatically sharpen when you close the lid, and that makes it so easy to line your eyes with because it is sharp. The other really nice thing about these pencils is that they're very, very creamy. And if you have mature skin, you do not have to pull and tug on your eyes to get these to line your eyes nicely. You also can take a Q-tip, and as you line your eyes, you can rub these eye pencils out just to make it look really, really diffused and soft, but to still make your eyes look defined. The thing that you want to avoid is you want to avoid using a really, really black liner, which looks very, very harsh on mature skin. Instead, to look more youthful, opt for something like a gray. If you really like black, choose gray instead, or choose like a coppery brown, because those things really are going to be much more neutral. They're not going to look quite as stark, and they're very, very easy to just Q-tip out and blow out along your upper lash line and your lower lash line, making you look really youthful and making you look like you've defined your eyes, but not like super, super stark against your skin. Okay, moving on to eyelashes. As I mentioned before, as we age, our eyelashes fall out. So one thing that you really, really shouldn't skip in your makeup routine as you age is some good mascara. Using mascara opens up our eyes, it gives our eyes some definition, and it makes us look like we are a little bit younger, because we always think of young kids, young, beautiful kids who have these dark, thick eyelashes. So we are trying to mimic that look. We are trying to look like our children and our grandchildren in some cases who have dark, thick eyelashes by adding some mascara and really thickening up our lashes and making them darker. Remember, when you're using mascara, use a primer, because adding a primer to your lashes when you put before you put the mascara on is going to thicken those lashes up, and it's going to make it easier to build up your lashes so that they look more thick. And don't forget to curl your lashes before you put your mascara on either. Okay, finally, let's go to our lips. What happens to our lips as we age? As we age, our vermilion border, that's a medical term for the border that is the outline of our lips, starts to fade away, and it starts to become a little bit difficult to see where our lips are outlined. When you look at young people, like I think about my 6-year-old, she's got these beautiful, plump, pink lips, and they have a very, very defined border. So they don't have lines, and they have a very, very defined border. So what are we trying to achieve as we age that is going to make us look more youthful? We want to be able to see our lips outlined, and we also want our lips to look plump and not liney. So it's important to use a lip liner as we age. The big thing is we want to use something that's neutral. What we do want to do is make sure that we give the impression that our lips have a very defined border, but we don't want to do that with a super duper bright lip liner or with a lip liner that is so defined in comparison to our lipstick or our lip gloss that you can tell that it's lip liner. You want to do something super duper natural. I love the Rimmel lip pencil in the shade Nude because it is a totally natural lip color. It will define your lips, but in the most natural way, and it goes with every single lip color. I will link that below for you guys. And then in terms of lipstick, what are the things that are going to make our lips look plump and not liney? Well, do use a lip gloss or a lip balm that's got a little bit of a tint to it, or a creamy lipstick. Do not use a matte lipstick, because matte lipsticks dry our lips out, and they really, really, really define the lines that we develop in our lips at an older age. I know that a year or two ago, matte lips were like all the rage, but I don't believe that matte lips are for everybody. I really do think that they're for people that are younger, that do not have dry lips, that do not have liney lips. And so for people that have more mature skin, we really want to plump our lips up. There are a lot of great, great, great lip glosses that are not sticky, that will make your lips look plump and juicy. One of those that is a drugstore lipstick that really does not get that much attention on YouTube are the Almay Goddess glosses. I absolutely love these. This is what I'm wearing on my lips. I'm going to add a little bit more so you can see how plump and juicy it makes my lips look. They have so many different shades. The drugstore has so many great lip glosses. If you want to go high end, a lip gloss that I absolutely love is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. It is just a beautiful, your lips but better gloss, and it's got like definitive color in it. It's very, very pigmented, but it's got that glossy look that's just going to take that liney look of your lips away. It's just going to make your lips look plumpy and less lined. So you guys, that is it. Those are some ideas that I feel like are great ways to make more mature skin look much more youthful. If you guys like this video, I really hope that you will hit that subscribe button. I am planning lots and lots of videos for the next few months on all kinds of different topics. We're going to talk about skincare. We're going to talk about how to get poreless skin. We're going to talk about glycolic acid and salicylic acid and retin-A, and how to get beautiful, youthful looking skin, and I hope that you will join me back on my channel. To those of you who are my longtime subscribers, so nice to see you. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule today to be with me, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.